All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with an Archon mode match between Team Wintertime and Spider Puck.
That's right. And this is pretty exciting. I'm actually really excited to see how this is going to play out. Because, you know, Archon mode can go one of two ways. Like, either you work really well together or you hinder each other in every single move. And I don't think that either of these teams have practiced together at all.
Nope.
So, you know, who knows what's going to happen.
They are sitting next to each other, though, so we'll see. I know Winter and Game Time have been doing some pre-game strategizing.
Okay. I wonder, like, I kind of have to wonder if Spider Slayer's strategy is just going to be hands on the table. You know, that seems like a legitimate strategy when you're on Puck's team.
I mean, he has mentioned that he will be doing his best to macro for him as much as he can.
Yeah.
While I know that Winter has said that he wants to make as many lurkers as possible.
Yeah, he did say that on stream in the last interview, so we'll see if that's what actually comes out. They did, in fact, select Zerg, and it's going to be the Zerg versus Protoss, as you predicted. So just getting into the game. And this is like kind of one of the neat things that's going to be coming out of Legacy of the Void that we're going to see more of, I think, as time goes on, are these Archon mode matches.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really cool because Red Bull Battlegrounds has kind of spearheaded that and got out in front of it by, I mean, kind of making that the main, kind of one of their main things for the Battlegrounds, which has been really neat, and you've seen some really cool play out of it. So, jumping into the first Archon mode match on the SC2 CTL channel at Youmacon 2015, in the upper right-hand corner of Orbital Shipyard, it is Team Wintertime. Whew, that's even harder. Game Time and Winter.
And in the lower left-hand corner of the map, the purple Protoss, it is Puck and Spider Slayer.
Let's see.
So it's interesting, you know, how much different this is. Winter's doing the heart before on his expansion before putting that down, tracing that out. But it's just interesting because, like, the builds in Legacy of the Void are so much different to kind of switch mindsets on the fly between HOTS to Legacy of the Void, and making sure that your timings are right and your builds are right. You know, we talked to Puck earlier yesterday, and he was saying how much he's been playing this and how he's trying to get the builds in his head for this Legacy of the Void, and how that's kind of impacted his style in HOTS. You know, he's using a lot of the same units that exist in HOTS that he's using in Legacy of the Void.
I mean, the cool thing about Legacy is, too, I mean, the games start out so much faster. I mean, you're putting down expansions almost like your third action.
Yep.
And you know, we already have 3 base, and we are 1 minute and 30 seconds in, and it's actually real 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Yeah, just the niceties that come with age, right?
Yep. So it looks like. Man, this is gonna be hard to call these players. Team Zerg is got 3 bases going, spawning pool down, gas popping out, and Team Protoss is just scouting around. As we mentioned, you know, it's harder to tell, and maybe at some point with Archon it will be they'll work in a way to show you like what each individual player is looking at, because you know, certain things you can tell which player is doing it. For example, when you see the heart going down in the expansion, you know that's Winter. But not knowing exactly what each player is doing, it would be, you know, interesting to be able to see at least what they have selected or what they're looking at. But this is it's still beta for one more day. Yeah, beta closes
This is the
tomorrow.
last day of beta. So if you're wanting to get any last minute things in, do it now or wait a week and a half.
Yep. 6 Zerglings are on the way for Team Wintertime. Mothership Core and Adept are coming out for.
I have to say, I find the Adept super annoying as a Zerg player. Like, it's just, I mean, it's a really neat unit, but
I mean, so many times I've been. The Adept is weird because you see the shade come out and you're like, oh god, I gotta kill it quick, and then you like move all your force to try and kill it, and then you just miss it, and then it warps to where the shade is, and then you're like, oh god, I gotta move up there.
But I mean, it's just an interesting way to do some micro mind games, right? Because you can send out the little shadow and they know that where it's going to go, but then they can cancel it. You know, if you go after that, so
like
you really have to make a decision.
For instance, here the shade completely bypassed the Lings here. It walked right past them as they were coming and warped over to the other side. So the Adept is going to be heading over to base Wintertime, while the third of Spider Puck is under duress here by some Zerglings. He's going to be sending down the Mothership Core. Keep in mind now, Photon Charge is on the pylons, not on the Nexus, so you kind of changes how you put your pylons out. You kind of have to put them in defensive positions to be able to Photon Overcharge them. Adept is on the scene there to shoo those Zerglings away. Adepts do additional damage to light units, so they are really good against Zerglings, drones, etc.
And that makes them especially difficult to deal with at this phase of the game for Zerg. And there we see that shadow move again. Oh, nope, didn't quite get it off.
Did not make it that time. Zerglings still poking away at the next dude. You know, it's one of the useful things about the Photon Overcharge on the pylons is that you can put down a pylon and sort of defend your expansion before it completely comes up all the way. Adept here trying to keep these Zerglings away. It is really cool that Protoss now, I'm a Protoss player obviously, that Protoss does have an early game unit that is ranged that does well against these late units, although the Shade a little bit delayed there in coming out.
So Warp Prism is on the field now, and that's going to be heading out, and those are really neat now too.
Yeah, Warp Prism giving you the ability to warp into units quickly now that you have to have a pylon powered by a gateway, or powering a gateway in order to warp in your units in the shorter amount of time. A pylon is not powering a gateway does take longer. So obviously they're encouraging the use of a Warp Prism.
Getting that galactic drive to increase the speed of it as well.
Yep. So Ling's still just coming around here. It looks like a first Disruptor is about to be on the field here for Team Spiderpuck. Disruptors being picked up by the Warp Prism. Obviously the other advantage of the Warp Prism now is they can do ranged pickup. So you can drop that Disruptor, move the Warp Prism out of harm's way, so to speak, and then be able to pick it up.
Yep. So we do have the Hydralisk Den down. It has not yet turned into a Lurker Den. But there it goes, starting the morph.
Zerglings coming out. They are going to spot the Warp Prism here of Team Protoss. Moving on up into the third base. Queen is there.
Oh no, and there's the Disruptor.
Does not really get much done with that, but like I said, it is easy to pick it up there as the range to pick up the Warp Prism. I mean, the mechanics of these units are so... you know, people were complaining a little bit about they took a little bit too much macro mechanic out. Yeah. But man, so, especially with Protoss, so many new casters. It takes a lot more APM, a lot more control to really get much done. Another Shade here, or Adept being surrounded by Zerglings. Shade does come out, but it is not going to get it done. The Warp Prism Steel here up in the upper right-hand corner. Looks like...
Disruptor did go down and killed 2 drones in the mineral line of the main before picking up and taking off.
Disruptor now here with a large number of Depth Zerglings coming in to harass the third base mineral line here, getting a couple probe kills, but oh wow, 3 or 4 probe kills going down here. Looks like most of the units going to be continuing to whack on the rocks there. Spore Crawlers coming out for Zerg, as well as the that thing, Hydralisk Den, being morphed into the Lurker Den, almost completed.
Yeah, those Hydralisks are starting to come out, so they're starting to gear up into kind of what they want to do. So we should start seeing some of those Hydralisks morphing in.
Disruptor does get a shot off here in the base, kills quite a few workers. 8 killed for Team Protoss, 11 killed for Team Zerg. Now the Zerglings in the third base once again. Photon Overcharge on the pylon to shoo them away.
Yeah, Protoss is really floating a lot of money at the moment. More units being warped in. Blink going down. And here we see some of these Lurkers now, and moving across the map with Hydralisks. The Warp Prism heading home.
Everyone obviously was very excited to see the Lurker return to Legacy of the Void. A Disruptor is out right in the middle of the Hydras. Does kill only 1, it looks like. 2 more Disruptor coming out, and 2 of the Lurkers go down. That is unfortunate.
Yeah, that Disruptor doing a lot of work, and now the Stalkers blinking down. The Lurkers do go down and are able to start sending out their spikes. 1 Stalker does fall.
Actually can't recall now what the Disruptor ball thing is called. So many new names and words.
Purification Nova.
There we go. Two of them coming. It is a good thing that it does deal with these burrow units like this, but the cooldown is sort of long, so you have to be a little bit selective. More lurkers being morphed in here from the Hydralisk. The Blink Stalkers are working their way out. Blink is completed.
So the Zerg team really trying to set up kind of a siege tactic here, but with observation. I mean, everything is being revealed. There weren't... Oh my...
The Purification Nova is a high damage AoE, but it is a fairly small radius, so you do have to kind of spread them out a bit. Lurkers now beginning to send out their spikes of death towards the army of Protoss, forcing them to stay back, but the Purification Nova does keep going out and doing damage. The more I say it, the more I remember it.
Yeah, but Protoss is blunk forward now and is trying to deal with what's remaining here, so this siege is up. Disruptor is doing a majority of the work there. Team Wintertime now taking a 4th base here off to the right. Not really set up too much yet, but Team Protoss has 175 supply to 100, moving out across the map with these adepts, with these disruptors, and a lot of blink stalkers. This is going to be quite a force to deal with without a lot of supply. There are a few lurkers being morphed in here, but they are not completed yet. Yeah, these disruptors have really been wreaking havoc on the lurkers, and they're moving forward to try and do their little game again. Oh no!
Quite substantial losses taken there by the Purification Nova of the disruptor.
Still trying to get whatever shots they can, but I mean, those disruptors have been worth their weight in gold here. They've really been doing a lot of damage.
Supply of Team Protoss is approaching 200. While they have not quite moved in, it is giving Team Zerg the opportunity to get some things going for themselves. Dark Shrine coming down, 2 more disruptors on the way. Roach is starting to be produced as they need some more meat to the army to come on in. Zerglings coming down and are going to try and grief this 4th base here of Protoss.
Single Adept moving into the 4th base of the Zerg team. Not really getting a whole lot done right now. Probably going to fall to this Queen.
Yeah, Queen, those Adepts are pretty beefy against those Queens and not taking a whole lot of damage there. Though the Blink Stalkers are absolutely being just brutal. Talking to Puck earlier this weekend, we were asking him why he was doing so many Blink Stalkers, and he said he's just been playing Legacy of the Void a lot, and Blink Stalkers have been really strong for him. As we can see here, it is definitely something that he is focusing on. Purification Nova going out on that Lurker does take it out.
Ravager's on the field now.
Oh my
ball.
Purification Nova being very useful here for Team Protoss as they keep going after the balled up units.
Yeah, Ravager trying to target that disruptor with the bile, corrosive bile, unable to get that hit as it was microed out of the way just in time.
Now trying to set up here is Team Zerg, while Team Protoss setting up quite a offensive blockade here. The disruptors continuing to just not let Team Winter... Oh, so much blood on the field as those Purification Novas explode.
Yeah, Stalkers are able to kind of move in and clean up what's left here, blinking forward to trap them, and there's the GG.
GG from both players. Team Spider Puck takes game 1. This is going to be a best of 3, so we will get a map choice from our players and move on. This is pretty cool to see some of the new mechanics here being displayed on the Youmacon stage here. This is going to be the future. So if we end up coming back next year, it will be obviously going to be Legacy of the Void as it is coming out the 10th.
Yep. So just over a week and a half, or just around a week and a half, and you know. I gotta say, those disruptors did so much work in that game.
Yeah.
You know, especially against those burrowed units. If you see where they go down, or you can tell where they're at, you just kind of park that Nova right on top of them, and it really does a lot of damage. So, and I mean, lurkers are not a cheap unit. They require a lot of investment to make, so it really hurts every time one of those goes down.
Yeah.
And towards the end there, that hits. So it's kind of like the Protoss Baneling, except you don't lose it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's probably one of the more interesting mechanics because it's fairly quick, instantaneous, and does force. It's really kind of anti-siege. It seems like, because it doesn't really allow you to have slow, staticky type units, especially even the burrowed ones. Because without detection at that point, you can deal with those burrowed lurkers or.
Yep, and free damage is always better than damage that costs. So, and we saw that working out really well as, you know, the Stalkers were able to be preserved for some of the later fights and doing a lot of damage. And so I don't know if that's going to be something that we see a lot of from Puck, that type of strategy against Zerg as Legacy of the Void comes out. I imagine that he's probably not using his best builds here today, but who knows?
You never know.
You never know.
A lot of these players said they have been focusing on... oh, that is not what I wanted.